Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert Camoda, fantasy football counselor. In this episode, we're talking about trust. Yes, trust. Very important in fantasy football, whether you're drafting a player or getting advice on fantasy football, because you got to trust that whatever happens works in your favor to win your fantasy football leagues and translates to fantasy points each week. So I want to dive into players that are kind of trending right now that, there's a lot of uncertainty around them. Guys like Darrell Henderson, do we trust him this year? Cam Akers is down. He's supposed to take that starting role. Do we trust him? I'm going to talk about that. Najee Harris, we saw a preseason game yesterday. Average around 3.12 yards per carry. Do we trust him? Let's talk about it. Jonathan Taylor, what do we do now? The O-line, they lost Quentin Nelson, one of their top O-line guys. The structure of their O-line, and Carson Wentz. Do we trust Jonathan Taylor? A.J. Brown. So I'm going to go over some trending players, some popular names that, have been raising a lot of burning questions. Do we trust that player? I'm going to dive into that and let you know if I trust them, and you guys can come to your own conclusion and see if you trust them, okay? That's very important. Now, when we talk about trust, one of the main reasons I got into fantasy football is because I lost the trust from the mainstream consensus because they lie every single year. Every single year, it's the same cookie cutter rankings, outdated magazines, just lie after lie. Odell Beckham Jr. round one, busted. Odell Beckham Jr. round one, busted. Popular name. It's just, I lost trust from the mainstream. So what I did is I created the 16-round draft solution. Guys, get it below here on the YouTube channel. I've linked it below. Or if you're on the podcast, head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. Get the 16-round draft solution, video training, notes, everything. I just launched the August version of it, the most up-to-date version, walking you through all 15, 16 rounds there for you, and all the sleepers, breakouts, everything you need, guys, to crush your league. So get the 16-round draft solution below. Also, head on over to manscaped.com. Use promo code SHOWERLION. Get yourself a trimmer. They've got amazing products as well. Underwear. It doesn't bunch in your crotch. And you know what I like here about this Lawnmower 3.0? Aside from the skin-safe technology, you've got the navigational light. So you can literally shave in the dark. And, the fit and finish and the battery life just goes on for days. They've also got the Lawnmower 4.0, which I've yet to crack open on. I got to crack it open here on YouTube, but I will soon enough. I just like it in the box sitting in the background. I do have one I've been using upstairs in the washroom or in the bathroom. You don't want to see that one. It's done a lot of trimming. So manscaped.com, use promo code SHOWERLION. Amazing products. You guys are going to be very, very happy. Your balls will thank you, okay? All right, so let's dive into this. Also, thumbs up, guys, really helps the channel, genuinely helps the channel. Smash that thumbs up. Fantasy football is almost here. Let's get excited. Show some of that excitement in this. Take it out on the smash button. Helps the channel. Smash that thumbs up and leave a comment below. Is there any players you're having, issues trusting? Do you trust some of the guys I mentioned? Let's talk about it. First guy, let's dive into it, is Jonathan Taylor. I'm having trust issues, guys, with Jonathan Taylor. Simply for the fact that Quentin Nelson's done, right? I don't know when he's going to be back. From what I understand, they're working on his leg, ankle, or whatever. He's going to be out for a while. Bottom line is he's out. That's going to affect him early on in the season. And the thing about it that bothers me the most is they brought in Marlon Mack again. I understand that every team needs depth, but Marlon Mack could be a pest. Because if you guys remember last year, Marlon Mack was slated to be the starter. I knew Taylor would take over, but I didn't know that Marlon Mack would get hurt. Mack, Hines, they could be going by committee. Now, the big question is where the trust comes in is with Wentz being gone. Wentz has not produced solid running backs either, right? And with Wentz being down, maybe coming back anywhere from week 5 and on, who knows, right? Like, when they tell you Wentz is down, he's down for like 5 to 12 weeks. It's so vague. I'm not getting certainty with these injuries. So there's a lot of lack of trust. So you got to ask yourself this. Eason's coming in. Maybe they run the ball more. That actually could help Taylor. So let's just say it helps Taylor. They run the ball more. And then Wentz comes in week 6, 7, 8. Now that could hurt Taylor. So now you're dealing with a situation where Taylor's going to be dealing with 2 different quarterbacks that could affect him differently in both ways. Now, if you want Jonathan Taylor, you're going to have to invest a first-round pick, mid-first round to late first round. So as of right now, I am having trust issues, And usually, if I'm in a scenario where I have to ask a lot of questions, I typically fade the person. That being said, he's still solid. He's still supposed to get the volume. The talent is there, the opportunity. The O-line is still decent. Nelson's going to be a huge hit. We don't know exactly how long he's going to be gone. Particularly, nobody knows the exact date Nelson comes back. At the end of the day, I'm going to try to get someone else. I feel a lot safer with other players, but I'm having trust issues with Taylor. Let me know what you guys think of Taylor. As of right now, I'd probably lean Zeke for a little bit safe, feel safer with him at that ADP. I feel safer with Najee. Those two guys a little bit more than Jonathan Taylor. So those are my thoughts on Taylor. So there's kind of the landscape there. Next guy is Darrell Henderson. It's currently sitting 20th, around 20th on the consensus, the Consensus rankings. Now, Darrell Henderson, here's the deal. Undersized back. He lacks top-end speed. So I looked at a lot of tape on Darrell Henderson. The thing is, there's a reason I have that saying, years to wow me and I'm not wowed, okay? So if a running back comes into the NFL and they don't really wow you, okay, there's a reason for that. Maybe because they're not that good, right? And if they brought in and drafted Cam Akers, they drafted him with a purpose to, have a better running back than Darrell Henderson. Now, even when Henderson was playing last year, he showed some flashes, but Malcolm Brown was coming in. They never really ran with him. Now, we are recording this early August, so, there's a chance that the Rams, they're saying we believe in Henderson, but at the end of the day, they're going to say that because that's their running back. There is a chance that they might bring in another running back. Who knows? Maybe a free agent. They might spark a trade. I don't feel comfortable drafting Darrell Henderson in the belief that he's going to be a 3-down or even a 2-down workhorse running back. I just think he's undersized, again, lacking that top-end speed. And if you guys watch it last year, he got banged up. So they're going to have to get some sort of insurance. Also near the goal line, okay? Near the goal line, does he have the power to pound the ball? And he's not a Derrick Henry. He is slightly bigger than a scat back. He's not that big of a back. An undersized back to be your workhorse, it just doesn't seem viable. And I believe the Rams will try to find a solution here. Although he does seem tempting to get him in and around round 4. You could probably get him round 4 based on ADP in drafts as your RB3 if you consider him, but do not have the expectation. It would be a miracle if you could, but do not have that, lower your expectation that this guy could be that guy. I have trust issues based on years to Wabi. I'm not wowed. Based on the fact that they drafted Cam Akers. Obviously, Cam Akers got hurt. Now's an opportunity for Henderson, and the fact that they were using Brown a lot with Henderson, and Henderson was getting hurt, lacking the top-end speed, undersized back. All of those variables are really questioning me even considering him. I don't feel warm and fuzzy with Darrell Henderson. Could be wrong, but that's how I feel right now. Now, if we're, first week of September, they didn't acquire anybody, Darrell Henderson starts looking a little more attractive, okay? So that was a big question. People kept asking me about Darrell Henderson. Those are my thoughts on him. I personally don't trust him. I don't feel warm and fuzzy, but it's up to you guys. That you guys are the owners, okay? That's what makes fantasy football so fun. I make suggestions. I give my critique. Up to you guys to make the decision, okay? Let's move on here. He's on the cover art, Najee Harris. Watched the first preseason game. I'm going to pull up the stats here. I don't like to guess how good he did or whatever, right? I think it was 3.2 yards per carry. I'm going to pull it up here because if I don't pull it up, I'm going to be held accountable, which is fine. So Najee Harris, 3.1 yards per carry is right. 7 rushes, 22 yards, 3.1 yards per carry. Now understand, he came in with Mason Rudolph. Are you kidding me? Rudolph's out there trying to get his players killed. What is he doing? He's throwing the ball, out of reach of Claypool, priming him for a safety to take his head off. It was ridiculous. Mason Rudolph had no business being on the field in yesterday's game. But one thing that I really liked about Najee Harris, you could see the passion in his running. He runs hard. He keeps the legs moving after contact, which was really, really nice. Another thing is you saw the faith that Coach Tomlin had in him, keeping him in. I believe he was out for 3 or 4 drives, which was really, really nice. I think he played the first drive in the second quarter as well, which was really good. Now, I don't think they got near the red zone for him to even try to get a goal line touchdown. But what I saw yesterday was very promising in regards to this guy getting a lot of volume. You heard the announcer say this guy's going to be a 3-down workhorse running back. They've been talking about that. The Steelers are craving that. And you can see him, his pass blocking looked good. You can see him also basically getting into space to be open for some catches as well. So I'm excited about Najee Harris. I think the volume's going to be there. I'm going to say 100% trust on this situation. I'm all in. And the fact that Najee's sitting 13th on the consensus rankings behind guys like Antonio Gibson, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones is absolutely ludicrous. This guy could be a top 5 running back. Now, a lot of people saying, Joe, that O-line, that's the only kind of thing you want to be like, there's some trust issues. But I am confident in the Steelers offense, Tomlin, Big Ben, and the receiving core that they will formulate a plan. Big Ben knows how to run that offense, right? And I'm confident in Najee Harris' ability for this is going to be exciting. This is going to be exciting. So I'm not concerned. The O-line does not bother me. They've revamped some stuff there. They're going to be okay. So Najee Harris, absolute trust, because I know a lot of people are asking about that. I'm not concerned, okay? Let's go to some other guys here. Let's stay on the running back. One guy here is Joe Mixon. Like a lot of people high on Joe Mixon, currently sitting 11th, pretty much almost top 10. Shifting over to Joe Mixon, it's hard to trust a guy that peaked in 2018 with 243 fantasy points or something like that, like 8 touchdowns. Like it's not enough for me to say this guy's got a high ceiling. So I'm having trust issues with Joe Mixon. I'm going to stay away from him. I know a lot of people are high on him. I understand that the offense is ramped up. Burrow coming back. They've got Higgins. They got Chase. They've got wide receiver options. I'm going to fade Joe Mixon again this year, so I don't trust him, okay? Let's move on to wide receiver. I'm going to give you guys a couple players that people keep talking about, and I'll tell you whether I trust them or not. One guy is A.J. Brown. Don't get me wrong, talent is there, and I'm going to keep talking about this. I'm going to keep talking about this. I'm going to keep stating my points. Maxed out at 106 targets last year. We got Ryan Tannehill, 18th in passing attempts. We got Julio Jones there. Well, let's do Julio Jones and A.J. Brown together here. I'm having trouble trusting both these guys. Julio, obviously injury prone from what we saw last year. Now, he's not. It was one bad year, so I don't want to hold it against him. But what bothered me is that I'm already hearing he missed a couple of practices due to a nagging leg injury. That is a problem. You've had all off season. What's wrong with you? Why don't you get your shit together? So Julio, you got me questioning some stuff. And then A.J. Brown, are you going to get the volume with Julio there? If Julio's off the field, yeah, A.J. Brown eats. But it's going to be tricky with these guys. Now, the big problem I have here when it comes to trust is the fact that you're spending a second-round pick on A.J. Brown. Give me A.J. Brown in round 5, 6. Sure. Not in the second round. That's where I'm having the trust issues there. So A.J. Brown, for me, I'm having trouble trusting him, and I'm having trouble trusting Julio Jones as guys that could finish in the top 10. I just don't see the volume being there. That's a big problem for me, okay? When you look at QBs, a lot of people trusting Jalen Hurts, which is ludicrous. He's top 10 on the consensus. I don't trust him. I don't trust the Eagles. What has Jalen Hurts done for me to trust him? Another thing that you guys got to keep in mind with Jalen Hurts is that they are flirting with Deshaun Watson. Why would the Eagles be looking at Deshaun Watson if they believe in Jalen Hurts? Going back to trust. They don't trust him, right? So, not only are we as fantasy owners, potential fantasy owners of some of these guys, not trusting them, because we have these question marks, owners, coaches are not even trusting their players. They're bringing in depth. They're bringing in other people because lack of faith, right? Tua, is he trustworthy? I'm going to say no, right? Who else? Jalen Hurts, is he trustworthy? I'm going to say no. Another guy here, Dak Prescott, do we trust him? Comes off a major leg injury last year, getting back into the groove already. Shoulder problems. Do we trust him? Like I said, the biggest problem I have here is if a player's coming off injury, already showing signs of injury, that to me is a big red flag. Now, Dak Prescott could come out, flourish, have like an amazing season, but again, we're dealing with a guy coming off a major injury, getting back in the groove. He's got some good weapons, but already showing some signs of injury. From what I read in reports, should be back for week 1. Should be good to go. you could say, this is why I always say get a backup for a backup. So if you do have a 1-quarterback league, get 2 quarterbacks. If you're in a 2-quarterback league, get 3 quarterbacks, okay? Very, very important. So Dak Prescott, do I trust him? I'm not feeling warm and fuzzy, that's for sure, but there's some ceiling there as well. And I want to do one more running back here, which let's do 2 more running backs here. Saquon Barkley and Dalvin Cook. Let's start off with Saquon Barkley. Something's bothering me about him. Obviously, I love his ceiling, but already hearing that he's going to get weaned into the offense, apparently might even take till week 3 to go. But they're not giving us a clear answer. They're saying, well, we might wean him in, or it might be a week 3 start, or he could be ready for week 1. Like, I'm reading mixed reports on this. Now, when we saw his training, this is months ago, like he's running in the sand, like he's good to go, right? And what bothers me, it's like, okay, I understand like these knee injuries take a long time to heal, but his injury happened at the beginning of last season. So he had the entire season to heal and the entire offseason. And you're a young, ultra-elite athlete with the best medical training. You get your ass in week 1. So there is some trust issues with him in regards to possibly losing some time. So if you are willing, like myself, because I get a lot of running back depth, I'm willing to take the risk on the upside and draft them early, but you might be risking losing a couple games, okay? That's something you got to deal with. It's part of the package. He's coming off an injury, and of course, you got trust issues because he's coming off injury, right? So Saquon Barkley, something to watch and monitor if you are getting him, but some trust issues. And again, years where he's shown injury, there's trust issues, of course, right? He could get hurt again. And of course, Dalvin Cook, I have no trust in this guy at all, period. First year, he played like 2 games. Second year, like what? I can't even remember. I'm losing track here, like 11. He played like minimal games the first couple seasons, right? And then 2019, he actually screwed you in your fantasy football championships. So when you're looking at a guy like Dalvin Cook, he's going to miss games. It's just a matter of, are you willing to part with a couple games a season? He hasn't finished a season, period. Again, last 2 seasons, I think it was 14 games he played. And at the end of the day, are you ready and willing to lose? Guaranteed. He's gonna miss a couple games, period. Like, it's just going to happen. 2 kind of Cinderella seasons, decline coming. I'm not sold on Cook. I'm going to fade Cook. I have major, major Cook trust issues, okay? So again, it's up to you guys to make a decision. Do you trust them? I personally don't. And again, I can sit here and do trust things for a lot of players, but I just wanted to highlight those particular ones. And there's a ton of guys I don't trust. DeAndre Swift, I don't trust. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, is he going to get the volume? Antonio Gibson, don't trust the offense. J.K. Dobbins. There's a ton of guys that I could talk about, running backs, wide receivers, that have trust issues, but I wanted to highlight some of these guys, particularly Henderson, Jonathan Taylor, and Saquon Barkley, guys like that, where people were asking, do I trust him? Najee Harris, do you trust him? So it's very important, guys, that you take some of this analysis under consideration when drafting these guys, because they're very high draft capital guys, but always add depth to your roster as well, okay? Trust, very important in fantasy football, and if you want to have that amazing advantage and have the optimal players to draft that are as trustworthy as you can get the 60-round draft. So you guys, I linked it below, or head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. I appreciate you guys being here. Smash the thumbs up. More content coming your way. We are in draft season. Get the 16 rounds, and I will talk to you guys next video. Trust. Make sure you guys have as much possible trust in the player you draft on your roster this season and every season beyond. We'll talk soon.